The African Transformation Movement wants 22 million rand in damages. The party claims it lost votes after some serious allegations involving Magashule and Jacob Zuma. The ANC veterans were accused of helping to launch the party. Now it says those allegations hurt its performance at the recently held general elections. Let's get the latest now from the ATM's leader, Mzwanele Manye. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Mr. Manye. This is a very serious letter that you've written and a very serious amount of money, 22 million rand. How did you arrive at that figure?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. By the way, this is just scratching the surface. It could actually get more by the time we get to court. This is just an indicative amount. The ATM has lost a lot of resources because of this. You must remember the background very quickly, that just on the eve of the elections, a couple of weeks before, Mr. Ngulwana went on a rampage telling the South Africa that we are a fraudulent party, we stole a constitution of ATC, we got ACE involved in the naming of the ATM, and therefore it will be deregistered. Now, as a result of that, we had spent a lot of millions on campaigns. So our campaign money actually went, I mean, if you look at the kind of support we had before and after the elections, it's chalk and cheese. We're one of those parties that had all the stadiums full. We're one of those parties that our mass meetings were well attended and all that. So we've got very good demonstrable record of the kind of support that we had. But in the polls, it didn't reflect. And all that, and we have a very strong constituency base that did not reflect on the polls, and we blame it on him because we also lost a lot of money in terms of the number of seats we would have had. There are party levies that are based on the number of seats that we have. Now, because we've now been compromised to only 2 seats and so on, so that has actually reduced what would have come through to the party. Also, the amount of money we spent on the legal escapade of this. We spent millions talking to lawyers, briefing lawyers, and all that. And by the way, on the briefing of lawyers, on the 4th of June, Mr. Ngulwana had an ample opportunity to go to court and deal with this matter. We were due to go to court, where he had an opportunity to go and table his side of the story, and then he could have told South Africa as to what really happened. On the eve of the court, the man just runs away and all that. So in other words, he is saying he's already done the damage, therefore there's no need to ventilate anything. So we're taking him on that. We've also lost buckets of millions in terms of pledges. Members of the ATM had pledged millions for the party. But when Ngulwana came with his deregistration thing and all that, and people said, but what's the point of supporting this party if after the elections it's going to be deregistered and all that? And also others were saying, we ran away from the ANC because we thought it's a corrupt party and all that. But now, if this is another ANC project, what's the point? So we lost a lot of people on that. Lastly, we now also have to spend many millions on the brand rebuilding project. So now that's all the money that Ngulwana has cost us.
Now, you managed to win 2 seats in Parliament after these elections. Some would say that that's not bad going for a party that was barely, a year old, a year and a half?
Yeah.
Some would say that's not bad going, but you're insisting that you would have won far more votes if these allegations weren't made. How can you really prove that?
Just an easy one. You know, we've got many churches that support us. An easy one. There's one church, for instance, that on its own is constituency-based. That one church only is in the millions, like 7 odd millions. And people in that church had committed. Now, if you had lost, I know that even though people have committed in the church, surely you can't go from 6-7 million people down to less than 100,000. Something fundamentally wrong has happened there. So that is the one bucket of constituency that we're guaranteed of that just went up in smokes because of Ngulwana's because he's also a member of that church. He's an apostle in that church. So when he spoke, people said, but this is one of us speaking, and therefore people got confused that an anointed man, he's saying this, so therefore this must be true.
Had you been given an undertaking by those churches, because these are serious allegations against a man of the cloth, as it were, the former Secretary General of the South African Council of Messianic Churches in Christ, how were you ensured that the people who were members of this church would be voting for you merely because they were members of those churches?
The chief apostle of this church, firstly, he is the one that he owns the vision, by the way. There's a direct link between ATM and this particular church in particular. So the chief apostle had already spoken to everybody in church, and there was a groundswell of support. When we called meetings using the church members, that these are ATM meetings, these were not clandestine meetings. Meetings were clearly declared, openly declared, that there's an ATM meeting. Those members of ATM, supporters of ATM, please come clad in your ATM outfit, and the place would be white on ATM. So we have a very good understanding of our constituency base. And so, by the way, let's be very clear that Mr. Ngulwana also is an imposter. This South African Council of Messianic Churches that he purports to be a Secretary General of, he was actually not. He had resigned already on this, from that organization. So even that council is already suing him, even for that, for purporting to be the Secretary General when he was not. So this man was really doing all kinds of lunatic things.
Now, Mr. Manye, some might say that this is now crying over spilt milks, because in the game of politics, all is fair in love and war, some might say. You were in the news for the last few years and had a very well-publicized relationship with the Gupta family, as it were. And you don't think that that relationship hurt your party's performance at the polls?
No, because I went to the commission. I went to the commission to clear whatever was purported to be the issue. And I came unscathed at the commission. In fact, when I presented at the commission at the time, I was the only person that produced evidence to the contrary of the things I was accused of. By the way, of the things I was accused of, I was never accused of corruption. I was never accused of stealing anybody's money. The only
association?
issue... The association, yes. But association, this is the country constitution provides us freedom of association. By the way, the people I was associated with, the Guptas, as we speak here and now, there isn't a conviction on them. As we sit here and now, the NPA has withdrawn charges of the Guptas. So I'm not understanding this hula baloo, because those people, as we sit here and now, Marcel, me and you are here, those people have got nothing on their name. It's just media.
But we do know that when it comes to politics, perception is everything.
Yes, we know, but I think you as a journalist, you must also use facts. You can't come here purely based on perception. You must use facts.
But it's not journalists who are potentially voting for you at the polls. Those are not the people that you're speaking to when you're trying to convince people to make their mark.
Yeah, correct. But church people, when the leader of the church says to them, this is leadership of the party and all that, the people of the church, they believe the leader of the church. Now, an apostle, this apostle is a very serious position in a church, is somebody anointed. Now, when an apostle goes on a rampage, this is a delegate of the chief apostle. So when an apostle goes on a rampage, that creates enough confusion in a church. So this man had credibility within church members because he's an apostle. Even as we speak here now, he's still an apostle. And therefore, he carries that credibility. So he misused the credibility of the church for his own nefarious objectives.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there for now. The leader of the ATM, Mzwanele Manye, thank you so much for coming in to give us the very latest on this development. Just a quick note, we're hoping to get a response from Mr. Ngulwana in response to these claims by Mzwanele Manye.